Our mind is programmed through trauma, repetition, and fear. You know what I'm saying? When you're being abused, especially on like a constant daily basis, or when you're dealing with abuse, you are most likely dealing with all three just constantly. You know what I'm saying? You might be getting yelled at, you might be getting like physically hit, you might be whatever, you know what I'm saying? You might be repeatedly getting yelled at, and that makes you scared. So every day you get yelled at, that makes you scared. So the three things that program you may be happening all the time. You know what I'm saying? So it might really have left like a brand in the back of your mind because of how frequently it was happening. So that's kind of what makes this behavior hard to shake, because of how it branded us. You know what I'm saying? And then we forgot about it. We put it in the back of our mind, or we just don't even realize how much it affected us in general. You know what I'm saying? When this happens to you, you get trained to be programmed in a certain way. Sometimes you try to protect yourself. Other times you're just programmed to accept certain treatments, accept certain behaviors because that's what you're used to. Other times it just programs you to behave a certain way. You have to take the time to denormalize toxic behavior to begin to understand what abuse was and what's okay and what's not. You know what I'm saying? That's a whole nother level too. We don't even really understand what abuse was or is. We just now coming to those understandings. You know what I'm saying? That's why we have more movements and shit like that now. That's why we speak out and stand up against certain things now. We see certain behaviors, we call it out now. But back in the day, that shit was normal. That's why nobody ever said anything. That's why we have a little mental gap with older generations, because we think differently from them. You know what I'm saying? We recognize certain shit and just we have more empathy towards mental health, that something they didn't really focus on. So you really like I said, you might have, like I be saying, you might have the Disney family, you know what I'm saying, and still have been dealing with abuse because it might not have even been from your family. Like, you do, certain behaviors are so toxic that are normal that it makes, like, it could be something that's super abusive. You just think it's normal. And watch my video on the one I did breaking down or reacting to like the viral video of the parents. You know what I'm saying? Or I was reacting to viral videos of, you know, how parents be talking to us. You know, watch that video to kind of gain an understanding, or watch the video putting reality in the proper perspective. After you know and acknowledge and understand like where the behavior and stuff comes from, you can begin to reprogram yourself. But first you gotta accept it. You gotta be like, damn, that's fucked up. Like, damn, that shouldn't have been happening. Like, damn, I didn't deserve that. Like, damn, that's unfortunate. And I'm saying that casually, but usually what that comes with is like a big whoa. Like, it was like whoa. Especially when you start to denormalize shit, I'm telling you, the only way you're gonna know it's working is when you can't watch certain shit no more. When you can't listen to certain songs and stuff no more. And not even to be in a self-righteous way, but you just be watching the movie and you realize that that actress is still a woman. You know what I'm saying? She's not like a robot or something out there. So you be like, yo, why did they write so many like scenes in the movie where she just getting felt up like this? Like, she really don't look comfortable. Like, I'm seeing that she don't look comfortable in the movie. Like, that's like she's trying to act through it, but you can clearly see she don't look comfortable. And because, like, you probably watched that movie 10 million times and never noticed something like that, but it was always there because you just wasn't aware that shit like that shouldn't be happening. You know, then that's just it's not a minute example because that's something very serious, but to the amount of shit that be happening, that is a minute example, unfortunately. So once you realize, like, okay, what makes me accept this behavior, or where was I seeing it, whether it be on TV, because it might not have even happened in your household. You could have just seen a bunch of movies where that behavior is being exhibited, and just be like, oh well, I guess this is normal. You know what I'm saying? You might see it from your neighbors. You might see it from your uncle and aunt. You might just spend a lot of time at your cousin's house, and you just, you know, take in what they were seeing. Pause. You just start replicating the behavior from their house instead of your house because you spent more time over there. You know what I'm saying? So in your mind, you can't figure it out because you like, where does this even come from? Because my mom and dad, they get along great, but you never even factor in your aunt and uncle. You know what I'm saying? It's like, just try to use mundane examples that aren't too triggering right away because I feel like you gotta go at your own pace. The more things affect you, you gotta work on them at your own pace. But the goal is to just be doing the work in general. Using myself as an example, I feel like I really have to take the time, and I'm taking the time to like learn how to be happy. You know what I'm saying? And that's even something weird to say because you're like born as a little kid and you just get happy with over anything. Have you ever seen like a baby? A baby will just have this feather right here. It'll have this feather and this. And just be going crazy. Just be going crazy with the feather. Just be going crazy in its own little world, having such a great time. You know what I'm saying? So that's a symbol, that's an example that you really shouldn't need much to be happy because you should just be happy internally. I began to ask myself, especially recently, it's like, what causes you to be this way? Like, why are you so naturally miserable? Why is it like someone's telling you good news and you become like a pessimist or something? Like, what is stopping you from being happy? You know what I'm saying? And I've talked about it already in another video, but I remember growing up and dealing with like some mean adults. I'll just say like some mean relatives that just didn't like us seeming happy as kids for some reason. Like, no matter whatever you're doing, it's like, man, go to bed. Even though it's like 6:30 or something, like y'all in there playing, making too much noise, go to bed. Y'all making too much noise, like you get a beating for that. You know what I'm saying? Y'all in there playing and jumping up and down and stuff, you get a beating for that. So after a while, you just get, your mind goes, wow, if I start laughing and playing and stuff, I might get a beating. Because your mind is trying to protect you. You know what I'm saying? So without you even realizing, your mind is like, shit, I better stop jumping up and down. So then you become one of the kids who stops jumping up and down. You watching the other kids jump up and down. And now you're not getting the beating no more. You know what I'm saying? And you are now protected. But now your mind is constantly in that thought of protecting you from the beating. So it's like, now when you're an adult and it's cool for you to jump up and down at a party or something, it's like, nah. Because subconsciously you still think that beating is coming from somewhere and you don't even realize it. Just being in the, just being in the hood and not really allowed to like show emotion or show happiness or even smile too much. Like, this might sound funny to you, but like my mom would validate these stories. Like you be on the bus or something, or you be in class chilling, and it didn't always happen to like me. I don't want to make it. I'm just talking about shit that I witnessed too, because I'm about to get into that. But sometimes the shit that you witness and the fact that it wasn't happening to you directly kind of makes it even worse. Because if you was getting robbed a lot, that's a conscious thing. Like, I'm traumatized because I was getting robbed, because you can clearly remember that, you know what I'm saying? But if you wasn't getting robbed, but lived in an area where you have to protect yourself, that make it even worse because you're constantly like preparing in the back of your mind and you don't even realize it because now it's just muscle memory. Now just muscle memory to keep a gun on you because someone may want to potentially rob you, even if you've never been robbed before. But hold on, let me keep going. But you a kid, and it's like joy is like an entity. It's like an angel. And motherfuckers be trying to fight you for your joy. You know what I'm saying? Niggas see you smiling, shit. It's like, what you smiling at? Uh-huh. You smiling? You think shit funny right now, nigga? I'll stab you. It's like, what? What's going on? I'm just watching a funny video. It's like the type of shit I used to see. And even experience. There's been times where I really didn't want to because I felt like it was so silly. But like, niggas, I've had to fight for my joy because I'm laughing, and it's like, for some reason that upsets a nigga. Like, you be there reading, and a nigga be like, yo, what you trying to prove? You think you special or something now? And I'm coming from a place of understanding now. I understand that he might not have been the best reader, so he might be like, man, I wish I could read that book. And take that as like, I forgot, I forgot what the proper terminology is, but because he wasn't the best reader, I've been drinking. Because he wasn't the best reader, he is mad and wishes he could read, or wishes he had this coat, or wishes he had this sneakers, or wishes he had that hat, or wishes he had a loving parent, or wishes he had something that you have, and they kind of want to like fight you for it. They're trying to fight you for your joy. So a nigga will see you doing something like reading, try to fight you. You know what I'm saying? Nigga, you thinking you upgrading your vocabulary and shit. Niggas thinking you getting uppity. They want to fight you. I've had to fight niggas for using the word contradiction. You know what I'm saying? At the park in Maryland. Like I said the word, like I was spending time with my cousins and they live around some rich, uppity people, and they talk very Esquire. They be on some Esquire shit with their words, and that's how they vibe. That's just how they get down, okay? So I thought I was gonna go back on my Esquire shit when I get back to Maryland. I'm about to, you know what I'm saying? Because remember, I talk about it like, I'm one of them niggas who grow up not being the brightest. So if I get on my Esquire shit, this is a way for me to make me feel good. I'm not feeling like a little retarded nigga. I'm learning shit. I know words about it, because niggas be making fun of you. And sometimes you be using the big word and nigga be like, oh, spell it. And all this type of crazy shit. It's like, damn well I can't spell that. You know what I'm saying? But whatever. I'm going crazy. But I remember being at the park and I, like, a nigga was like, yo, I need to go. I'm about to go shower and then put back on these same clothes. And we was like playing basketball. And I was like, hey, Mo, why would you do that? Like, that's nasty as hell. That's a whole contradiction. And it was like a record scratch. You know what I'm saying? And like everything at the park stopped. And it's like the nigga was like, yo, what you say to me? It's like if I called him a bitch or something. You know what I'm saying? It's like if I called him like a girl or a hoe or whatever. Like he took that shit as a threat, and we really had to squabble. Like that shit was really wild. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm going home with a busted lip because I'm telling the nigga that he was contradicting himself. So these type of things program you after a while. It program you to be like, well, shit, maybe I don't want to be no reader. Because when you be reading, niggas be trying to fight you. Maybe I don't want to be smiling and shit. Because when you be smiling, niggas be thinking that's an invitation to rob you. Niggas be thinking niggas be trying to fight you for your joy. You know what I'm saying? That be happening inside and outside the house. You know what I'm saying? So all right, I done put my little tough guy bravado on all day. You know what I'm saying? I'm mean mugging niggas mugging me, I'm mugging back. And then I go home, it's like, okay, let me take off that mask and start smiling. And then you gotta deal with that same shit in the house. Niggas trying to fight you for your joy in the house. So it's like, now you just gotta be stoic. Now you just gotta be, you know what I'm saying, laying low. Now you not really expressing yourself and showing your joy because like niggas be mad that you happy. And I understand why, but I'm only bringing it up to show you how you get programmed. So now I'm in a place of shit. Do I even know how to be happy? Do I even know what that is? You know what I'm saying? Outside of like getting material stuff. Like I'm really taking the time to learn. Like I really gotta let myself enjoy things. I really have to allow myself to be able to go places and do certain things and realize that I'm the person actually blocking me from doing these things and can't put it on an external source. You know what I'm saying? I really am taking the time to be like, okay, how do you be happy? How do you allow this to happen? What do I gotta do? I'll be Googling that. That sounds like such a weird thing to Google, but I'll be Googling that. I'll be looking up that hashtag like, yo, how do you be happy? Because I'm programmed to hide it or not allow myself to be happy just to protect myself from the fight. You know what I'm saying? Just to protect myself from the fight. So imagine what else you program yourself to do. Hold up. Imagine what else you program yourself to do just to protect yourself. When you can program yourself to have a certain body just to protect yourself. Do you understand? Like, I can directly correlate being a skinny ass kid and being a fat ass kid after being abused. You know what I'm saying? I can be like, okay, like, especially if I go back and look at the pictures and you can, cause it'd be drastic weight. People be like, oh, cause older people don't pay attention to mental health, don't do the best with our nutrition and shit. They'll look at it like oh, they just getting chunky. They'll grow out of it or whatever. And you eventually do. You play sports or whatever, but you really wasn't supposed to get chunky like that. It builds character or whatever. But you know what I'm trying to say. Like, that came from I can clearly see how that came from a depressive episode, whether I realized it or not. Whether because I didn't even know what happened was abuse, you know what I'm saying? Especially when it comes from like women or girls or something, I should say. You know what I'm saying? I can clearly look back on it though and see like the times of like being with my cousins and her like female friends and the things like that they was doing, and then getting fat. And you get fat to be unattractive, so those things won't happen anymore. Or you might start taking care of your hygiene less. So like now maybe I'll become a musty kid. Or maybe I, stop washing up and stuff. Just so whatever's going on will stop happening. Or maybe I try to stay as scrawny as possible, you know what I'm saying? Maybe I won't do no push-ups or nothing. Maybe I don't work out. And at those times, I was like allergic. Like I went from being like one of them kids who'd be the fast kid in class to being like allergic to exercise. Just eating triple whoppers at like 10 years old, eating like triple whoppers, having like big ass cups of ice cream, just like 3 a.m, eating a cosmic brownie and a honey bun, and then having breakfast a few hours later. You know what I'm saying? Just piling on the food and doing that subconsciously to try to like create a shield, a barrier to protect myself from these young teens who think my body is an amusement park or a board game or something, apparently. You know what I'm saying? So that's another example. That's another realization I had to have. My mom, who kind of studies psychology, she's kind of told me about that before. And it wasn't until like I really went back and looked, like looking at my photos and stuff and trying to remember and like think back to what was going on at that time, and then denormalizing the behavior to really put my reality in a proper perspective, and seeing how things could have possibly affected me, to get me to that point. Because I'm like, damn, why am I this motherfucker where you can see his ribs right here, and then I'm the nigga who might not want to take off his t-shirt at the pool over here? Something is going on. You know what I'm saying? And there's like no smiling. There's just looking sad all the time. It's like, yo, this nigga look like he going through a lot. Like, somebody gotta help this nigga. You know what I'm saying? So once I realized this, once I start having these realizations, once I start realizing this, I immediately start to draft up a formula to reprogram myself from this negative behavior. You know what I'm saying? I immediately like will look at certain things and be like, okay, if these are certain issues that I deal with, I have to, if it's something that I'm not confident in, I gotta be reaffirming it. You know what I'm saying? If it's something that I whatever the negative part is, I'm trying to hit it with the positive, and then I'm trying to correct the behavior. So last year, I probably wasn't open to really, really doing anything. You know what I'm saying? Anything at all. Going anywhere, doing nothing. Not even on like the simple level, And part of that is because when I was growing up, I feel like I never really had the opportunity to do a lot of things. So again, that's going back to learning how to be happy, learning how to, participate and be in certain behavior, participate and do certain activities, stuff like that. So now for this year or in the years going forward, it's like I'm trying to do all I can to be like, oh yeah, I'll do that. Like, have you ever seen the movie Yes Man? I'm trying to apply that principle. Like, oh yeah, I'll do that. Oh yeah, I'll try that. Oh yeah, why not? You know what I'm saying? Oh, well, you never know. Or I'll do things that have the potential to make me happy and try to avoid things that keep me in a place of misery. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes everything will just be going good and I'll just start making up things in my mind to be miserable. Because I'm so used to being in this state, it's like I have to put myself back in it. You know what I'm saying? Because I have to feed that energy that I'm used to. I have to feed it. So I have to do methodology. I have to do things to get out of that and apply what I'm saying about myself to things that are serious and some things that are even maybe even silly, depending on how you look at it, and apply that to your life and things that may be going on based on things that happen, based on things that might have been toxic that you don't even realize. You know what I'm saying? You might be sitting there like, oh shit, Is that why I do this, and that? That's why I don't want to do this, and that? Am I just protecting myself? Am I subconsciously thinking I'm protecting myself? Am I subconsciously holding myself back because of X, Y, Z? You know what I'm saying? You have to really be open to the idea that this shit is toxic. You gotta be open to the idea that this stuff is negatively affecting you. You have to accept that, and then you have to start reprogramming. Because as long as you was dealing with trauma, repetition, and fear, which every abused person was, whether it was once, whether it was one just super traumatic situation, or whether it was daily, either way, as long as you've ever had to deal with it, or you may be currently dealing with it, you know what I'm saying? And right now you're learning how this shit is about to affect you or is affecting you now. You have to do your due diligence to reprogram from it, so it's not blocking. I don't like to use the word blessings, but for lack of a better term, it's not blocking your blessings. It's not holding you back. You know what I'm saying? I'm definitely holding my own self back in life just by still being affected by these things, because how they're affecting me is not allowing me to open up to greater possibilities. You know what I'm saying? So that's how you have to start looking at it, and just start with the methodology of reprogramming your mind, Start with repetitiously doing positive things and feeding your mind positive things. Just start today. Start immediately. Start after this video. You know what I'm saying? Start with repeated positive actions, thoughts, affirmations, whatever it might be. And you are going to catch yourself slipping. You are going to catch yourself slipping back into those negative behaviors because you've been doing them for a while. That energy wants to be fed. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to just tap out overnight. But the fact that you're acknowledging and you're open to putting that work in, and you're putting that work in, is putting you on the right path, because eventually you will overcome it. You know what I'm saying? And it may still affect you in ways just permanently. You may not trust, you may have been the person to trust everybody, and now you only trust certain motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? So it may still have somewhat effect on you, but it's all about, it may still have a somewhat effect on you, but it's all about putting the work in to not let it affect your life in a completely negative way. So let's say you're meant to do great things, or you have the potential to do great things, but you're not stepping into your potential because of how these things subconsciously affect you. So your actions don't line up with the potential that you're walking around with. You know what I'm saying? So I hope this video helps. I hope it makes sense. I hope me sharing my experiences paints a picture for you. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, kind of start to think about it like that, And the last few videos I've done, they all kind of go hand in hand, like taking the accountability, acknowledging what the fuck was going on, you know what I'm saying, and reprogramming yourself. And that is the most important, because once you start to feed your mind, I always say, try it out for 7 days, for 14 days, and just see what happens. But just start feeding your mind something that you want to manifest into your life, and see how. And the more you feed it, like let's say you want like something simple like a dog. Like, you keep feeding yourself the content of that dog. You keep doing things that line up with having a dog or getting a dog. You keep doing stuff like that, and you'll be surprised how that thing manifests. Or you could just try it with anything. You know what I'm saying? I would start with something small, just to give it a little test, and even just do it for 7 days. You'd be surprised how much it just start popping up in your reality. You may not get a dog in 7 days, but you might run into that type of dog that you're looking for 2-3 times. You know what I'm saying? So that's your synchronicity. That's your proof that the work you're putting in on your subconscious mind is flourishing or starting to show in your reality. Not to make this video too long, but I hope it helps. Yeah, think about all the things, or begin to think about the things that, begin to recognize your negative behavior, take accountability for it, and do the work to reprogram.